And then after that, if you have a question, just hand up and I'll kind of move around the room.
Hey, and this is welcome. Did you introduce yourself to everybody? See? Yeah. Don't be too mean to it. This is a really mean crew, so don't be mean. Just welcome everybody. I'm excited for this year. Summer went by so fast, but a lot of exciting things with Arizona women's basketball. The first day you guys get to see them in actual red uniforms and get to meet our new faces, but I think we put together a really strong team, great kids, and just excited to get going. So I'm happy that today's the day.
Over the years, the number of returning players has always been kind of a factor in what people think good teams are going to be.
Yeah.
But with the way things are now, I mean, that's clearly can't be as much of a factor. And you've turned over a lot of your team. I mean, how does a coach work through that? And what are the kinds of things you have to do differently than maybe you used to?
I think just the climate with women's basketball, you're going to see that with every top program. You're going to see that, obviously a top program, if you have a lot of freshmen, they're usually not going to sustain and stay. And I think that's just how it is with the transfer portal. And I think with the new rules that came out this year, I think it's going to be even more glaring. And that's kind of how it is. I think you have your core of returners that are usually going to be your best players, and then just new good young talent, and then transfers. And I think that, like for us, we probably won't usually have 3, 4, 5 kids from the portal. But I think also one thing about now is, throughout recruiting, you sometimes recruited someone on the front end, and you may not get them, and then they maybe come to you later. So, we have a lot of new faces. It's exciting though, because I think that we have new pieces that can really add to what we do, and that's on and off the court. So, I mean, adding Jade Lavelle, who was the second leading scorer in the Pac-12, and a really good perimeter player, will add consistent three-point shooting and toughness and size on the perimeter. And then you look Lauren Fields, a phenomenal defender from Oklahoma State, who brings winning and experience. And then you look at Esmeri Martinez, who is a stretch four, a really good three-point shooter, a gamer, one of the best offensive rebounders in the country. And then you look, those are the upperclassmen that came here, and they're going to add to Kate Reese and Lauren and just all the good players, Shayna. And then you look at the freshmen, who these players are going to lead. It's Maya, Kaylin, Paris, and Lamaya. It's a pretty good group, and a great freshman group that can learn from some experienced vets. And I think I'm excited to put that together. Now on paper, you look on paper, you're like, oh, we should be good. Well, you got to put the puzzles together, and that's the challenging part as a coach, and I think that's the exciting part. So I'm excited.
You started recruiting Maya when she was in 8th grade. How excited are you to finally have her here? What does she bring to the team?
So I started recruiting Maya since 8th grade, and Maya, the good thing about Arizona was Zeke was here. So Zeke actually helped the group because she was always visiting, her family was visiting Arizona to see Zeke. So Maya took a lot of unofficial visits, just incidentally. And obviously it started the relationship, familiarity with Arizona, and the comfort here. And then it also, they have a younger sister. So I said, we should just keep it all in the family. So just Maya's great. She's kind of a dream for a coach. She's incredible off the court. She's in an accelerated medical program, which, that's like probably a couple kids in the country do that. And then, the servant mentality, her family with their foundation, building a school, in Africa, and they're going to do a lot of other things. And then just being the player she is with the work ethic she has, that's the total package kid. So, Maya is just incredible.
How's it going so far with Arie?
Great. Arie. I'm happy. Yeah, so Arie, people forget about Arie. Having Arie here is incredible. She is a great leader. She's a player that's doing it right now. So this morning she worked out in the weight room, but she's doing it. And so they're able to see a pro in what she does, how she takes care of her body. They're able to talk to her about things that she does on a daily basis, what it's like to be a pro. It's one thing hearing it from me when I played 30 years ago, and it's another thing hearing it from Arie, who's playing in the WNBA now. So there's a lot of value to that. She's a point guard, so she's able to mentor these point guards, but she's able also to mentor players like Kate and Lauren and Maya, and just tell them, hey, you have to do this to be good. And so extremely valuable. And Arie's someone who'll be around for a long time, and I'm going to mold her into becoming a coach. So hopefully when she walks away from professional basketball, she'll walk into coaching.
Esmeralda, you talked about her offensive rebounding, and in the past, that has been a big emphasis for you. Will there be changes to your style of play? Are you going to emphasize that more?
Yeah, so I didn't emphasize in the past because we didn't have a great offensive rebounder, and just kind of go off personnel. And I don't value offensive rebounds. I value transition defense. But with someone like her, like she would be able to crash. So she would be someone I send to the glass, and I would be strategic about that. And wouldn't change my whole philosophy, but I would cater it to her. So just like when Arie was here, she's one of the best rebounders in the country, and she rebounded better than most post players. I always sent her to the glass. So just kind of going off of what we do best and what we have. And as Mary is a great rebounder, so she will crash.
Do people ever get to see these players in like a red-blue game?
Well, we wouldn't have enough players to have a red-blue game right now. We've had a lot of people like injured or out, or there's a concussion. There's like someone got stitches on their thumb. Like there's just all these little random things. But I honestly never did a red-blue game because of just the attendance in the past. But I think it'd be something that I would consider. Like, do you guys think a red-blue game would be good here? Yeah, they do actually. Okay, I might just have, that's a great idea. So I might just, no, I really think that would be good. I just think we never thought about it, never did it. And also when I played, we did the wheelchair basketball, so that was fun. That would be something I'd consider for sure. If I got feedback that people would love it, I think it'd be fun. It'd be good.
So with sort of this, a new season starting, about to start, and a lot of new players and everything, and a freshman class that comes in as the best freshman class that has been recruited to this program, what have you seen as sort of starting to be sort of your identity? I know it's really early,
Really early.
but with strong freshmen like that, plus who you've got coming back, you must see certain things happening and bubbling up.
Yeah, it's hard just because we haven't had a whole lot of team practices. We've had a lot more of individual skill that we do in the off season. I think that there's a tremendous amount of potential, but you don't ever know how things pan out until like they're in your system and you actually play. So like on paper and after skill, you think, oh, this person can be great, but it's just like, how does it like work in a game? But I think that what's promising is the talent and the level and where they're at compared to a couple of years ago. Like these freshmen are better than our freshmen were a couple of years ago. If you look at Maya, she's versatile. She has potential to be a really well-rounded, versatile player with three-point range and stuff. And if you look at Lamaya is a really good athlete. She's long and lean. She'll be a great defender, and she's really good at slashing to the basket. You look at Kaylin, she's a fierce competitor. She can shoot. She can take it off the dribble. She's got a really good game. Now she's just got to learn how to run a team because she'll play the 1 and the 2. And then Paris also. So Paris is mainly, will play guard, but just her learning the game. The game's faster than high school, so there's some pace things, but she has a great handle. She's getting stronger. So I think they're all gonna be really good and so different. And they're all kind of different positions and have different strengths. So I think when I look at the future, they're the future. That group is so I think the challenge for coaches nowadays in top programs is you have this good group of freshmen, like let's say 3 or 4 freshmen, in our case 4. And then you have like really good transfers and upperclassmen, so you want to play your freshmen because otherwise you're going to lose all of them. And that's the way it is. So everybody around the country, you saw last year, we lost all of our freshmen. So I think that, and that's the challenge because kids want immediate gratification. And they want, if people don't play, it's not the mindset like when I played, oh, tough it out, get better, and play in a couple years. That is not the mindset. You don't play, you leave. And that's kind of the culture of women's or basketball in around the country. So I think that it's the balance of developing them, giving them experience and playing time, and then like integrating them, and then you really can win with them when they're juniors, seniors. You can win championships. So that's a hard balance for a coach because you come to a point like in the off season, we could have taken 2 or 3 more really, really talented transfers. And I remember thinking like, they want to come here, well, we'll be really good. But I have to understand if I would have made that decision or I didn't make that decision because we might win more games now this year. Let's say we win 3 or 4 more games. But I would have probably lose all my young players. And so that was I made a decision not to do some of those things because of that, but those are hard decisions as a coach. So you have to look at the big picture.
Is that why you're only having 12 scholarship players on
No,
the
I'm
team?
only having 12 because 15 was a nightmare. Like, when you have 15 players, you have 10 players that hate you, and they're miserable. Like, it's just how it is. So I think 15 is way too many. And, like, I didn't really understand. I'm just a younger coach. It's like, you think 15, oh, we have great enough to practice. And now I have 12, and we haven't had enough to practice. Like, so it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So, I think that the magic number, a good number is 12, and we're going to get a mid-year. One of our players is going to come in December. We could have 1 to 2 players come. So then that would bring us to 13 or 14. But I think that magic number that's good and manageable is 12. 15 is like, you're going to lose 5 players.
Name a captain.
No.
Is this Kate's team or no?
It's always going to be Kate's team. This is Kate's program. Kate's been on the face of this program for so long. I rely on her. But no, I have not named captains, and I'm not even close.
What have you seen out of Shayna during this offseason as she continues to develop her game? I know she talked about wanting to get better at the perimeter.
She's improved a lot. Shayna has worked on her mid-range game. She's worked on her shot. She's put the work in, and she had some great experience with Canada basketball. And, unfortunately, she didn't go to the World. Fortunately, but unfortunately. So if Shayna would have went to the World Championship, she would have been gone now the whole month. And she did not, to focus on school, and basketball is hard to leave for a month from school because international kids have to be in in-person classes. It's this new law that passed. So it would have been really challenging. So she chose to focus on Arizona basketball her last year. And she's bought in. She wants it. She wants to play pro. So she's putting in the work, and you guys will see a much improved shot. I mean, just the form, technique, the arc on the shot, everything.
Individually, the freshmen, what they bring to the table, but if you were asked to describe this recruiting class, what's something that's kind of stood out to you about them, even though you guys haven't hit practice yet?
They're great kids and great people. Maya, sweet, and like, so let me give you guys an example. So like Maya's recruiting visit, and even now, Maya would take the food to go in like all these containers. Like after, we always have so much food on visits, you don't eat half the food. And she would box up the containers like there's extra bread on. And I was like thinking like, oh, you're not going to eat that later, because you eat so much food. But like she was taking it to give it to homeless people. And so I remember it stuck out in the visit. I'm like, wow, all the kids are worried about TikTok, and you're worried about giving this food to homeless people. And it was really important to her. So every meal we were at, she took it. And I remember driving her to a park on the visit to deliver it to a couple people. And we found a guy like on a bike near a park, actually off of Speedway over there, and gave it to someone. So my point is that she's different. And I always say, like, made for it. It's cliche, but she is made for it, and she's built different. And one of the things that we use in the program is go beyond, and she goes beyond. And if you look at Paris is amazing. I love her. She's has a great personality. She's a connector. People gravitate towards her, and she's fun, and comes from a great family. Like, I love her mom, and just chose Arizona and chose to come across the country from New York, and I think wants to do something special here. So I think she has a chance to be really, really good. And then Lamaya also from a great family, great people. It feels like our family. She is athletic, long. She's like the sky's the limit with her. She's getting stronger because she's got a really lean frame. So she's getting stronger and, working on her outside game, but just as a freak athlete with a tremendous amount of potential. And I envision her to be, in the future, a better version of Sam. But like a quicker, kind of more athletic, but similar. I think she can defend later like Sam did, and I think she has potential to do that. And then Kaylin's a beast. Kaylin can score. Kaylin can handle the ball. She can shoot. And most players at her age don't come in. There is like no doubt in my mind, like hands down, Kaylin should have been a McDonald's All-American. And it is crazy because she's better than half the guards that were. And she is a worker. She loves the game. She is that kid on a Friday night when everybody's out with their friends or hanging out or watching Netflix. She's the kid that's at the rec center playing basketball. And I love that.
And then what's the biggest transition for a freshman to make from high school to college, off the court? What is that biggest transition in your
The first thing's maturity. A lot are very immature. And I think that there's a lot of parents that are, I think just with the generation, I'm not saying these are kids, I'm saying like in general, a lot of helicopter parents that do everything for their kids. So there's just a lot of players nowadays are in general. I mean, we talk to recruits every day. They don't know how to do laundry or anything 'cause their parents do everything. So they get to college, it's like, so I think just the maturity, the time management, I think that it's important to have, it's great that we have great leadership here, because if we didn't, the freshmen aren't guided correctly. So I think I'd say time management, just being able to juggle, like being away from home and taking care of your body. Like you don't know how to cook usually. So it's like, do you make the right choices with food? So we provide a tremendous amount of food because we know that. But just managing all the things. There's a lot of things. I mean, they're nervous today. It's the first day of practice. These are longer practices. And just like when you fit in your study, when you fit in this and that, and it's just a lot of stuff. I mean, and they're pretty busy. So we use this thing called Teamworks that keeps everybody in line. But I think just navigating all the areas and being successful at it's difficult.
We have time for one or two more, so
Um,
PJ was next.
Yeah.
So, I have two, real quick. One is, you took, you had off-season practice for the first time in like 3 years.
Yeah.
How do you think that's helped you now, especially with the new freshmen coming in and the transfers?
Yeah, well, we always have off-season practices, but so it's the same. I think it's felt different. It's the same amount of time. It was just condensed into 2 back-to-back sessions. So before we'd have time off, something, and then time off. Now we just had like back-to-back sessions and time off on the front end and back end. So it was the same time. It was strategic, though, to have the freshmen like with the upperclassmen working out. So just for like chemistry and cohesiveness of our team and just like time together. So I think it helped. I think it helped in the sense that we had a lot of skill development time. We had time to just spend together, moving into the apartments. I think we're just going to be further along typically than we would be. But, right now I think we just had a lot of like small things. We had like COVID, we had the flu, we had, someone hurt their finger. Like we had just random things. So I felt like we've been out a lot just with random stuff. Like someone has a cold, but it's 3 days, stomach bug, like just all those things. So I feel like today you're not going to even see us full force. We'll have like half of our players in practice, but we don't really have to be at our best on September 30th. I think that's the date, or whatever the date is. So we need to be our best, and we get better like in, I'd say, January. So I think it's just time, but I'm hoping the summer has us ahead of where we typically would be.
And I know that you see the potential in everyone and you have expectations, but who are the ones that you've seen in individual practices and everything up to now that you were like, oh, well, maybe they're a little ahead of schedule, or they sort of stand out a little bit at this point?
I'd say Kate is ahead of where I thought she'd be with her shoulder. I think she's doing really good. A little limited, but not really. In practice, working hard, looking good. I would say, Maya. I think very fundamentally sound, smart, great work ethic. I would say Caitlin and her skills, ball handling, shooting ability. But it's what I expected. I'm trying to think of who else. Shayna is way ahead of where I thought she would be, just as far as her shot, and we've been working a lot on it, but it looks really good. And I think what I like is that like Caitlin and the freshmen are really pushing her too, and so they compete and they go at it hard, which I like because that reminds me of Shayna and Arie 2 years ago. So I like that competitive, and Caitlin's really competitive. I like the fact the freshman doesn't back down. So it's been a really good, healthy thing. Who else? I think the rest is like things I expected, like a freshman that has to learn how to read the game and the pace is faster. Like, Shayna guarding Kaylin is different than a high school kid guarding her. So some things you can't usually get by someone on some moves, and Shayna's a really good athlete. So I think those things, and Esmeri and Lauren Fields. I think getting, Lauren Fields healthy, ready. She cut her finger, so she had some stitches, so her thumb isn't 100%. And Esmeri, working in the shape and, just being ready, making sure her knees are strong, everything. So she's been good. But I think Esmeri's going to help us a lot. And Lauren, because Lauren's strong, and she plays the defense the way we do. So those are two players that are going to be really critical for our future, too. So they're players that have 2 years. So having both of them, I think they're players that I'm going to count on for their leadership, their work ethic, and their toughness, and they're going to bring a lot. And then Jade Lavelle is what I expected. She's where I thought she'd be, as good as I thought she'd be, probably a little better. Her pull-up jumper, it looks like an NBA guy's pull-up jumper, so she's going to be incredible for us. And she gives us a lot more shooting from the perimeter. I have time for a couple more.
Pueo, where do you see her playing this year? The one, will she be the three like Sammy
She'll be
was?
everything. Pueo will be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like she always is. Pueo is phenomenal. Pueo is the best condition I've seen her since in the last 4 years. She came back extremely fit, strong, better leader. Pueo has, so you say one of the people that amaze me, Pueo. She just doesn't talk, so I forgot about her because she's so quiet. But incredible. She's someone that's, and Pueo can stay another year. And don't think I'm not going to be talking her into it right now. I'm going to be like, are you going to stay next year? I might just have to recruit another Spanish player to keep her here. But she's been incredible. Shooting the ball well, strong, great off the dribble. She's going to have her best year yet, guaranteed. Don't guarantee. But guaranteed she should, or kind of guaranteed, but she should. And she's been, I think, a whole another level. So I really want her to come back because she's valuable. And I think this year, I think she's going to take it to another step up.
On her, how do you think that playing 3x3 helped her this summer?
I think it helped. It must have helped her because she's, it had to help, and I kind of forgot about that. She won gold. It has to have helped her because something Pueo's like, just sometimes Pueo's on siesta, just chilling, but she has, it's like another knot, like it's a big step up just in everything. And so I think that must have helped her confidence, or maybe it's because she always plays with the Spanish national team. I see something different. So it must be a mental confidence, maybe it's ready for the next step after. It's a different focus. It's a different level. It is a different confidence. Her body is different, everything. So that must be one of the reasons that's helped it, because she's like a different player.
Not only because she's such a good scorer, but playing in the Pac-12 and going through a grind of a Pac-12 season. She's been there, done that, and knows the experience of this conference.
I mean, it helps so much. And one other thing that helped is I remember playing against her, like, can someone stop her? Like, I remember playing against her, like, okay, is someone going to, like, not let her shoot? But I think if you look at Jade, you look at her efficiency. So her size is good. Like, she's really strong. Her height on the perimeter, I like big guards. What's special about her is her shooting ability and the way she pulls up. And if you look at her stats, she's very efficient. And, I mean, to be efficient and take the amount of shots she did on a team that wasn't like the top team in the Pac-12, it's hard because then they focus on you. So I think she'll be even better here. May not get as many shots just because we're a better team. It'll be a little bit more balanced. But she's good. She's good. She's strong. I think she's going to have an amazing year.
I talked about Jade's jumper and talked about the height
like
that
she
she
rises
gets
on
off
her
the
jumper.
ground. How much does that help when you're able to get, rim level and being able to?
I don't know because I've never done it, but I'm assuming it helps a lot. No, I think it's just like, and I hate, this is so sexist to say, like, it's like a guy's pull-up, because that's a sexist comment, but most, like, you don't see a lot of female basketball players that jump the way she does, but you don't really see, like, a jump shot in women's basketball. Like, some pros, like Joel Lloyd and some WNBA players, but it's rare that you can just, like, stop and rise up and shoot, and, like, she has that. And it's like, there's not a lot of female players in the country that have that. She's a great scorer. Like, she'll be a pro. I think with her, is like she sometimes will settle for that jumper. When she's strong, she can get to the rim too. So we'll work on her being, like, improving in both areas. And I think for us, the great thing is she came from ASU. ASU, they play tough defense. So she's not going to be, that's not going to be a big adjustment. Because remember, most scorers don't like to play defense. But she already is out of school to play defense, so I think that's a benefit for us. So, to be seen. Yeah. No? All right, guys, take care. Thank you.